This is going to be a story time video, and it's been a very, very, very long time since I've done one of these. I think the last time I did one of these was I was working at my old job, and I think I was still utilizing my old original channel, which was just Taurean. But I have to do a story time about this because like this shit that I'm about to talk about had me heated, and I'm still kind of frustrated about it because of what you see on the screen, and that's dealing with the passport. And I'm calling this the passport nightmare, the passport runaround, whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backstory. Back in 2015, I applied to get my passport. So you got to think, at the time I was 26 and got my passport, and I'm very excited about it. And it's not necessarily I wanted it because I knew I was about to travel out of the establishment. It's just that, I can have it just in case that time ever arrived, or just have another form of identification. So I got that, and it was a breeze. It was a pretty easy process. I had to go to I got the application, went to Walgreens, took the picture, went to the post office, gave everything to them. They, got everything they needed from me, and then 6 weeks later I got my passport in the mail. So there's that. Recently, and probably within the last month or so, I said, you know what, let me see where my passport is. I don't know what it was. Let me just go and, have it, retrieve it, see where it is. I literally could not find it. Like, there was nowhere that I could find it. And the mysterious part about the whole situation was I never took it out of the house unless I needed it, which was rare. Because like I said, I will only carry it with me if I, knew I was traveling, say, out of the establishment or whatever the case may be. And I looked like high and low and everywhere in between and just could not find it. And, one thing that rest assured with me is I know no one took it because I never let it leave, the house. I always had it here. So I know no one took it, which is a good thing that no one took it. So I said, you know what? I need to get a new passport. So I had to print out a DS11 and a DS69. I believe those are the two forms. And the DS11, and I hope I'm not mixing them up. One of them is a form that you fill out when you've lost the passport. And then the other one is for getting a new one. Basically, the lost one, what it'll do is once that form goes through and is processed into their machine, then they'll basically invalidate that lost passport, meaning if anyone tried to use it, if they came across it, they couldn't use it. And they might be able to track that someone's trying to use an invalidated passport. And then, of course, the new one is just pretty self-explanatory. It's like getting a whole new one. So what I do is, I do all of that. I fill out the forms online, print them out, make sure that everything was correct and needed to be there. And if it was any changes, I'm sure they would let me know at the post office and we could fix it there, because they have the passport forms at the post office. So if you didn't have the forms filled out, you could get one there, fill it out, and then you'll go from there. So this thing happened in rounds. So round one happened back in January of this year, when I went up there the first time. So the first time I went up there was on a Thursday to the post office that's close to where I live. I went to the post office to go and turn my papers in and whatnot. And it seemed to me like the person, and it was a guy who worked up there, had a bit of an attitude. I don't know what his deal was that particular day, but it's just the way that he was talking. I didn't really like his tone. But anyway, I just kind of breezed through that. And I said I wanted to turn in my application, in this form so I can, take the picture for the passport and pay the fee and whatever the case may be. And he told me that the person who does the passport wasn't there. I find it kind of odd that they only have one person working there who does the passports. I feel like that's the thing that, if not everybody, I feel like at least should be two. Maybe if it's someone who's off that day, then the other person can come in that day and they can do it. But anyway, they said the person who does the passports wasn't there on Thursday. And what frustrated with me on that one is that when you go on to the USPS, the United States Postal Service website, to go and fill in the information, to set an appointment, you can set the day, the time, the location, and all of that. Why was Thursday highlighted if you knew that the person who does the passports is off that day? That should just be grayed out so you know not to choose it. That was just a waste of time. So that was the first round. The second round, I come back up there. I have the forms and everything. I make sure not to put down on a Thursday. I forgot what day it was. I think it was on a Monday or a Tuesday. It was one of the two. So I went up there, had everything. I gave the lady the form. She looked at it, and at first I thought I messed up something on the form, because when she was saying something about the parental part, she said you put unknown there. And I said, oh, I thought that was just something for the minors. At first I'm like, oh shit, what is happening now? But she said that don't feel bad because everybody who's over the age of 18 does that because they have the same mindset. She said, okay. So she just basically went down and print down another copy of the form and whited it out so I could put my parents' name in that slot. So when I get to the point, I'm like, oh, wow, now I'm really about to get in there. I'm about to, go through this, pay the fee, take the picture and everything like that. Then we hit another snag. We're at round 2. So this round was the birth certificate. So as you know, when it comes to the passport, you need to have your birth certificate and maybe some other documents, but that birth certificate in particular, because that basically validates you or whoever you put down as your parent on that form. But I had the little wallet size one. So the little wallet size one just has my name, my date of birth, where I was born at, and all of that. It does not have my parents' name on it. So I had to get the long one. So I said, okay, let me go and get the long one. I was so lucky and fortunate that I had the long one on me, but just wasn't on me at the post office. So I just decided, go home, get it, and then come back, make a copy of it and go back the next day. Because when it comes to the birth certificate, they have to have that sent off with the form in the application. Because the lady told me, she said, you can send off this card, but they're most likely going to email you and say, we can't accept this. So I said, you know what? I'm not even going to go through the hassle. I'll just get the long one. So I got the long one, made a copy of it so I could have one for myself, and they have the original copy when they send out the form. Now here we come to round 3, and round 3 is probably the worst round. And ironically, round 2 and round 3 all happened in the same goddamn week. So I have everything. I have my birth certificate. I have the forms. Everything is filled out. I'm coming back up into the post office. My appointment is set for 11:30 a.m. And I walk in there and I see a line. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe this is a line for people who are mailing stuff off, because sometimes the post office will have a line. But then one of the people that was standing in the line says, are you here to do general mail? Or are you here for credentials and passports? I said, I'm here to do a passport. Oh, well, this is the line right here. So there was a whole line for the passports. Keep in mind, when I came for the first 2 rounds, there was no line for either one. Okay, fine. So I go and stand in the line or whatever. I'm thinking, oh, this is not going to take for long. And I'm looking at my watch. Now it's now 11:30. It went to 11:45. 15 minutes has passed. And mind you, no one has been called from the people that's been ahead of me. Then it's almost 12. Then one person goes out, another goes in. Then another person goes out, another person goes in. When I'm looking down at my phone, almost an hour passes. I'm like, what the hell is really going on? And I said, my appointment was set for 11:30 and it's almost 12:30. And come to find out, these fools at this post office was not going by the appointments being set. They were going by the people who were coming in. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, why in the hell would you have a whole appointment system in place if you're not going to use it? If that was the point, you could have just said, we can just walk right on in and do it that way. And again, that goes back to that first round. Why is there only one person doing the passports? Why? And then someone had walked up in the line. They said it in a jokingly way, but then I said to myself, you might be right. It's 12 o'clock. They might have gone to lunch. That means we got to stand in this line for God knows how much longer, just standing there. I said, nah, I'm going to leave. But here's the crazy part too. There was a guy that was ahead of me who was there since like 10 this morning. Do you know that he did not go into getting his stuff done until about 2 hours later? So he was literally standing there when it probably wasn't even a line for almost 2 hours. One guy who was in the front, he said that he was supposed to be doing a meeting with his job. And he said he's going to end up missing it. He said he had to text his boss and say he wasn't going to make it to the meeting because of that. It was one young lady that came in. She was coming for some credentials and she said she was still on the clock. So people literally lost time and wasted time doing this. And there was another lady that came in. She came in with some kids, and I'm guessing, I don't know if she was getting a passport for herself or just her kids, or maybe herself and her kids. I said, when I saw that, I said, nah, it's time to go. I left. I walked out and I rescheduled my appointment for this at another location. I said, that is absolutely ridiculous that you do not have all of this stuff in order. I said the first 2 things I could let that slide, because the first time, I didn't know the person was off, even though on this part they should have said that we don't have anyone doing it on Thursdays. Okay, the birth certificate one, I wasn't, mad about that because, I had the birth certificate. I just didn't have it on me. But this right here with the scheduling and just not going by the schedule and the appointments that you made. And here's the thing. When they realized that there was a line, because I don't know if they realized there was a damn line, they said, okay, now we'll go by the appointments. It's too late. You might as well continue have been doing what you were doing. Like, what the actual fuck? Like, that shit is crazy. I don't know. Is the universe trying to tell me that I don't need to be traveling outside of the establishment or what? I'm not sure. Like, the go to the same place 3 times and this happens. But don't worry, because like I said, I made an appointment to go to another location. And I'm recording this on February 9th, 2022. So I set my schedule, my appointment for tomorrow, February 10th, 2022 at another location. Hopefully, this can go a whole lot better than it did today. Because I said that's it. That's the straw that broke the camel's back. Like, y'all didn't even go by your appointments that people made. Then what was the point of having people make appointments? You might as well just have them do walk-ins, if that was the case. Because you didn't even go by your own system. Had people out there on the clock. You had people out there that was standing there for hours. You had people that was late to meetings or didn't make it to meetings. Like, that could have been avoided entirely. If anyone had asked me who lives in the area that I live in where to go get their passport, I'll tell you where not to go. I'm not going to say what the name of the post office is, but I'll tell you where not to go. But that pretty much completes my whole story time situation. Depending on when this video gets up, I might, if I get the results that I render tomorrow, I might, just come up in here and just do an update on the situation and see what goes down at the other location. With that being said, I'm going to talk to y'all later. Well, talk to y'all later and just give y'all an update in the next part. All right, so now it is currently the next day, February 10, 2022. I told you I was going to come back with an update from the first part of the story from yesterday about me going to a different location, and I did, and it was a success. Way better handled, way more organized, no line. I was able to get in and get out in about 10 minutes, probably 10 minutes at the max. Went in there, did everything I had to do. I had to fix something on the application because, well, the thing is they don't accept them if there's white out there because something was there that wasn't supposed to be there. So I had to basically refill out the application again, which didn't take long to do. It's just that sometimes, I'll admit, I hate my handwriting and I'd rather it had been typed up, but had to do what I had to do. Filled all of that stuff out, took the picture, paid the fee, and now everything's being sent off. And the lady told me it'll take about 14 weeks, which is longer than usual. But because I think of WOVID, a lot of people, it was a backlog of a lot of passports. So instead of the usual 6 weeks, they tacked on an additional 8. But, it's no biggie because I'm not leaving out of the establishment anytime soon. So it's not like I needed to expedite it. So it is what it is. But that's the conclusion of the story. Pretty much a happy ending. I'll know not to go to that other location ever again when it comes to anything dealing with a passport. Or probably dealing with anything, period. Because if they'll mess that up, who knows what else they'll mess up. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this story down in the comments. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not done so already. Make sure that you hit that bell to be notified every time I upload a new video or go live. And let me know down in the comments, have you ever had a passport nightmare like I've had, or just had any type of issue when it came to dealing with your passport?